God says, angels are in shock because only you still don't know what happened last night. This is your last chance to know the whole truth. Open this immediately before it's too late. Don't skip. In the stillness of the night, when the world was asleep and your heart was quietly longing for something more, something powerful was unfolding in the unseen. While you rested, unaware of the divine movements in the heavenly realm, God was at work in ways your eyes could not see and your ears could not hear. A stirring of grace, mercy, and deep love was wrapping itself around your life, your future, your purpose, because God has never taken His eyes off you, not even for a second. The heavens held their breath, and the angels stood in awe, watching the Father's heart pour out for you once again. Type Amen if you believe. That night, a moment passed that wasn't ordinary or empty. Something was shifted. A chain was broken. A tear you cried in silence was seen and gathered in God's hands. You may not have noticed it, but heaven did. The very angels who protect and surround your life watched with astonishment as God moved quietly through your story, rewriting pages of pain into promises of peace. You may have thought it was just another night, but the truth is, it was a turning point. A whisper from the throne of grace was sent into your life, calling you back to Him, not with thunder or flames, but with the gentle pull of unconditional love. God has seen every part of your journey, the joyful moments and the broken ones you never told anyone about. He saw your faith shaking when the storms came, but He never turned away. Instead, He stood firm beside you, waiting patiently for the moment your heart would feel again, hope again, and believe again. What happened last night wasn't just spiritual, it was personal. You were on His mind. You were the center of His attention. Every detail of your life matters to Him more than you may have ever realized. There's a softness in God's love that wraps itself around the tired soul, and last night, that love wrapped around you. Whether you felt it or not, whether you understood it or not, it was real, and it was for you. It was not a dream. It was not a coincidence. It was a divine appointment you didn't even know you had. Heaven moved to remind you that your life is not forgotten, your pain is not ignored, and your prayers, those whispered ones in the dark, are never wasted. You might think you're too far gone, that you've missed too many chances, or made too many mistakes. But God says, this is not the end of your story. This is not your last page. In fact, something new is beginning, right now, in the silence between these words. That shift you've been needing, that breakthrough you've been waiting for, that answer you've been desperate to hear, God saw it, and last night, He stepped in closer than ever before. Not because you earned it, but because you are His. Type 1111 if you trust in God. There's something sacred in knowing that even when we forget Him, He never forgets us. His hand was moving through your circumstances, quietly, without your awareness, because His love doesn't depend on your perfection. It depends on His promise. And that promise says He will never leave you, never forsake you, never abandon you in your moments of confusion, heartbreak, or fear. That's what happened last night. Heaven responded to God's unshakable promise over your life. You may not yet see the fruit of that moment, but it's coming. Sometimes, miracles are planted in silence. They grow in the soil of faith and bloom in the light of hope. What took place last night might feel invisible today, but it is already in motion. God has assigned angels to guard the steps you're about to take. He has spoken into your future with words of healing, restoration, and peace. Not because you asked perfectly, but because you are deeply loved. You're not alone. You never were. And that quiet presence you felt when you thought no one noticed you, that was him. That unexpected peace that settled your mind when you were overwhelmed, that was him. That moment your heart felt just a little stronger, even though nothing had changed yet, that was him. He's been here, all along, and he's not going anywhere. The truth is, you've been chosen. Not for a life of fear, but for a life of purpose. Not to walk in darkness, but to live in light. Not to stay in sorrow, but to rise in healing. And the very fact that you are reading these words right now is not an accident, it's an invitation. An invitation to return to the love you were created for, to the peace you've always needed, and to the God who is still calling your name with a voice that sounds like home. More is coming. And not because of luck, chance, or fate, but because of grace. What happened last night was heaven's response to your silent prayers, to your faithful endurance, to your longing for something more. It was God's way of saying, I'm not done with you. You are still part of my plan. And no darkness can stop what I've already written for your life. The unseen work that started in the stillness continues to breathe life into places inside you that felt empty for so long. Even now, God is carefully stitching together what was torn, restoring what was lost, and healing what was hidden. Nothing about you is overlooked. Nothing about your life is accidental. You may have awakened feeling the same, carrying the same thoughts, the same worries, and the same unanswered questions. But beneath the surface of what you can feel, something has already shifted. God does not always announce his miracles with thunder. Many times, he moves in whispers, in gentle nudges, in quiet realignments of the heart. That is how deep love works. It does not force itself. It surrounds you patiently, waiting for you to notice its warmth. A powerful 7-second morning ritual, once hidden in CIA files, is resurfacing, and people are already seeing fast financial breakthroughs. It takes only seconds, yet activates a dormant wealth center in the brain most people never access. Click the link in the description and comments now. Access it before it disappears. God saw the weight you have been carrying. He saw the moments when you smiled on the outside but felt heavy on the inside. He saw the times you tried to be strong even when your strength felt like it was fading. And instead of stepping away, he stepped closer. Instead of judging, he covered you with mercy. Instead of leaving you to figure it out alone, he placed his hand over your life and said, I am here, and I will not let you fall. Type yes if you affirm this. There is something sacred about being loved by God, because his love does not depend on how well you perform, how perfect your choices are, or how steady your faith feels. His love is rooted in who he is, not in who you manage to be on your best day. That means even on your worst day, you are still held. Even in your weakest moment, you are still cherished. Even when you feel far from him, he is never far from you. What heaven began last night was not only about fixing what is broken. It was about reminding you who you are. You are not defined by your past. You are not trapped by your mistakes. You are not limited by what others have said about you. You are a child of God, formed with intention, surrounded by purpose, and destined for a future filled with hope. That truth has always been there, but now God is gently lifting the veil so you can begin to see it. Sometimes the hardest part of faith is trusting what we cannot yet see. We want proof before peace. We want answers before surrender. We want certainty before we take a step. But God often works the other way around. He asks us to trust first, to lean into His arms even when the path ahead feels unclear. And when we do, we begin to discover that His arms are stronger than our fears and steadier than our doubts. You may have been praying for change, for clarity, for healing, or for a fresh start. You may have wondered if God was listening at all. But heaven heard every word. Not one prayer fell to the ground unnoticed. Not one tear was wasted. Not one silent plea was ignored. God has been collecting them all, and last night, He began answering in ways that will unfold step by step, moment by moment. There is a tenderness in how God works with wounded hearts. He does not rush your healing. He does not shame your struggles. He walks with you through every layer of pain, gently guiding you toward freedom. He understands your story better than anyone else ever could. He knows what hurt you. He knows what you lost. He knows what you are afraid to hope for again. And still, He believes in you. God believes in the version of you that is still becoming. He sees beyond who you are today and into who you are growing into. He sees the strength that will rise, the joy that will return, the peace that will settle in your soul. He sees a future where you breathe easier, love deeper, and walk lighter. And He is already making a way for that future to reach you. You do not need to have everything figured out. You do not need to have perfect faith. You do not need to have all the answers. You only need a willing heart. A heart that says, God, I am here. I may not understand everything, but I trust you. That simple surrender opens doors you cannot see yet. It invites God to move freely in your life, shaping things in ways far better than you could ever plan on your own. Type 1212 if you walk by faith. There will be days when your faith feels strong and steady. There will also be days when it feels fragile and tired. Both are part of the journey. God does not abandon you on the tired days. He draws even closer. He becomes your strength when you have none left. He becomes your light when everything feels dark. He becomes your anchor when you feel like you are drifting. What happened last night was a divine reminder that you are still held in God's hands. The same hands that formed the stars. The same hands that shaped the mountains. The same hands that carry the universe. Those hands are carrying you. Gently. Carefully. Lovingly. You are not walking alone into what comes next. God is going ahead of you, preparing paths you have not yet seen. He is aligning people, opportunities, and moments that will arrive right on time. Not too early. Not too late. Exactly when they are meant to. Let your heart rest in this truth. Let it sink deep into your soul. You are loved beyond measure. You are seen beyond what you show. You are valued beyond what you can give. And nothing, absolutely nothing, can separate you from the love God has for you. Because this wasn't just a small moment, it was part of a much greater plan for you. You may not feel different yet, but your life has already shifted towards something more beautiful, something more whole, something eternally guided. You've been walking through life carrying more than anyone knows. Smiling through heaviness. Laughing through weariness. Holding on through storms that sometimes felt like they'd never end. But what you don't see is that every moment of endurance, every tear you shed in silence, has been seen by God. He has never missed a beat of your heart. He has never looked away. And last night, something changed in the spiritual realm, not because of anything you did, but because of who you are to Him. Type 222 if you believe God is speaking to you. A simple but powerful 7-second at-home ritual, it's hidden in CIA files for years, is now changing lives rapidly. Backed by neuroscience research, it can begin shifting your financial direction in just days. Click the link in the description and comments now and step into abundance today. You are not forgotten. You are not invisible. You are not wandering through life without purpose. Heaven knows your name. God knows your story. He knows where you've been, and more importantly, He knows where you're going. The pain of your past does not disqualify you from the promise of your future. If anything, it prepares you for it. The trials you've faced have not been signs of abandonment, they've been the places where God stayed closest to you, even if you couldn't feel Him in the moment. He has been building something inside you through every struggle, something strong and deep that can't be broken by the winds of life. That quiet courage, that spark of hope that refuses to die, even when everything around you says to give up. That's Him. That's His presence living within you, reminding you that you're not walking through this world without divine help. What happened last night was a confirmation that God hasn't left you. In fact, He's closer now than ever before. When everything around you feels uncertain, when people walk away, when doors close and plans fall apart, God is the one constant that will never shift. He does not change His mind about you. He doesn't grow tired of loving you. He doesn't lose patience with your questions or your struggles. He is steady, unshaken, and always reaching toward you with open arms. There's something holy in the way God carries us when we no longer know how to carry ourselves. He steps into the silence, the confusion, the loneliness, and He doesn't bring shame, He brings comfort. He brings truth that sets you free. He brings peace that no one else can give. And He brings a love so real, it begins to soften even the hardest corners of your heart. Last night was not about punishment. It wasn't about fear. It was about awakening. God stirred something in you. Maybe it was small. Maybe it was so quiet you barely noticed it. But something shifted. Something opened. Something broke free. And that tiny opening is all God needs to begin a new chapter in your life, one filled with more clarity, more peace, and more purpose than you've ever known before. Type 555 if you are ready for your new beginning. You are being invited into something sacred, a deeper relationship with the one who knows you best and loves you most. He's not waiting for you to be perfect. He's not asking you to have all the answers. He's simply inviting you to be real. To be open. To come as you are. That's the beauty of God's love. It welcomes the broken, the tired, the confused, and the imperfect. It wraps around you without conditions and lifts you when you have no strength left. God isn't disappointed in you. He's not frustrated with your process. He understands your fear. He knows why you've built walls. He sees the places inside you that still hurt, still wonder, still doubt. And yet, His response is always the same: He loves you. He chooses you. He stays with you. You don't need to rush your healing. You don't need to pretend everything is okay. You are allowed to walk slowly. You are allowed to feel what you feel. God is patient. His timing is perfect. And His plans for you are not falling apart, they're falling into place, even if it looks different from what you imagined. This is your moment to breathe. To rest. To let go of the pressure to fix everything all at once. God is already working on your behalf. What began last night was not a temporary blessing, it was the beginning of a permanent shift. A new path is being laid. Doors are being opened. Favor is being released. And it's not because you earned it, it's because you are loved. God's love does not expire. His promises are not dependent on your perfection. And His presence does not walk away when life gets hard. He is with you in the struggle, in the waiting, in the wondering. And even when you can't see it yet, His hand is moving mountains behind the scenes. He is removing burdens you were never meant to carry. He is restoring parts of you that you thought were too damaged to be whole again. He is building a future that is stronger, brighter, and more filled with joy than anything behind you. And all of it started in a moment you didn't even see coming. That's the kind of God He is. Quiet, but powerful. Gentle, but mighty. Always faithful. Always near. Always full of love that doesn't waver. Angels were watching in reverence as God reached down into the unseen parts of your life and touched what was hurting, restored what was broken, and called back to life what felt forgotten. It wasn't loud or dramatic, but it was holy. And it was real. It was personal. It was for you. You've been carrying so much, haven't you? There are days you wake up feeling the weight before your feet even touch the floor. Thoughts race through your mind, some filled with doubt, some with worry, some with memories you wish you could let go of. Yet even in those quiet struggles, God has not turned His face from you. He's been near, not just watching, but holding, guiding, and comforting in ways you may not even have noticed. Type 1919 to receive miracles. Last night wasn't just another night. It was a moment marked in heaven, a divine turning point in the story of your life. While your body rested, your spirit was being tended to by the hands of your Creator. In the silence, He whispered truth over you. He reminded your heart of things you may have forgotten, that you are chosen, that you are seen, that you are covered in grace, and that nothing about your life is a mistake. What if wealth was never about luck, but a hidden brain signal buried in CIA files? This frequency is opening doors, attracting opportunities, and changing lives quickly. Thousands are already using it to attract wealth like never before. Click the link in the description and comments now and activate the money-attracting brain wave today. God moved in response to what your soul has been silently crying out for. He moved not because of how loud your prayers were, but because of how deeply you are loved. He doesn't need volume to respond. He needs honesty. And in the quiet moments where you've simply said, "God, I don't know what to do," He heard you. He has always heard you. There is nothing accidental about what is happening now. The things you thought were delays may have been divine preparations. The doors that closed may have been His mercy protecting you from what you couldn't yet see. The moments that felt like endings may actually have been gentle beginnings in disguise. God does not waste a single part of your journey, not the highs, not the lows, not the silence, and not the waiting. Last night was a reminder that your story isn't finished. The chapters ahead are not defined by the ones behind you. And what's coming is not built on fear or failure, but on the foundation of His promises, which never fail. Even if you can't see the full picture yet, you are being led. God is still writing, still shaping, still speaking into your life. He is not distant. He is not disappointed. He is not waiting for you to become someone else before He blesses you. He's loving you right now, exactly as you are, wounded, wondering, and weary. And that love is not passive. It's active. It's alive. It's powerful enough to restore what life has tried to take from you. Maybe you've felt like you've been walking through a fog. Maybe you've been asking for a sign, for something, anything, that tells you He hasn't forgotten. Maybe you've reached the point where you're tired of pretending to be okay when you feel anything but. And maybe, just maybe, this message is part of your answer. God wants you to know that you have not been overlooked. You have not been ignored. Heaven has been paying attention, even to the things you thought didn't matter. Every sleepless night, every anxious thought, every moment you've pushed through with trembling faith, it's all been seen. And none of it has been in vain. Type 666 if you trust Jesus. Healing is on its way. Peace is making its way to your heart even now. The parts of you that have been worn down by disappointment are beginning to breathe again. The parts of you that have been shut down by fear are slowly coming back to life. This isn't about pretending everything is okay. It's about finally beginning to believe that it will be. God has not been watching you struggle from a distance. He's been sitting beside you in the pain. And when you cried out, even if you couldn't find the words, He leaned in closer. That's the kind of Father He is. Present. Attentive. Compassionate. Always near. There's a new grace covering you now. It's not the kind that demands perfection or performance. It's the kind that lifts you gently when you fall and whispers, "You're still mine." It's the kind that walks with you at your pace, not rushing, not forcing, just being there, steady, patient, and kind. You're not late to your purpose. You're not behind in your journey. You're exactly where you need to be for what God is doing right now. Even if you don't see the evidence yet, the shift is already happening. The seeds planted in faith, in tears, in quiet trust, they are beginning to bloom. You are allowed to hope again. You are allowed to dream again. You are allowed to believe that good things are still coming. The scars you carry do not disqualify you. They show you've survived. And survival is not the end, it's the beginning of something stronger, something deeper, something holy. Last night wasn't just about your past. It was about your future. It was about aligning you with promises that are already unfolding, even if slowly. It was about reconnecting your heart with the truth that you were made for more than just surviving, you were made for living, fully and freely, in the love of God. While the world moved on in silence, your name was whispered through eternity. Not in worry. Not in doubt. But in love. In hope. In promise. So much of life has tried to convince you that you are just surviving. You've carried burdens that have worn you thin, and walked through days where you wondered if your prayers even touched the heart of God. There have been moments when you've shown up for others while silently needing someone to show up for you. But last night, heaven showed up. You may not have seen it. You may not have felt it. But it happened. Something broke. Something shifted. Something began. Type Amen if you believe. You've been asking God to move. To speak. To make something change. And while you've been waiting for thunder, He's been working in whispers. In the spaces between your thoughts. In the silence of your most desperate nights. In the moments when you thought nothing was happening, God was doing His deepest work. His most sacred work. Because love doesn't always come loudly. Sometimes it arrives like dew in the morning, quiet, gentle, and life-giving. You might feel exhausted. Spiritually, emotionally, mentally worn out. But that is not the end of the story. God has not brought you this far to leave you where you are. He did not wake the angels, stir the heavens, and lean into your life for no reason. You are standing on the edge of something new. You are stepping into a chapter that has been prepared long before you even knew you would need it. The timing is not random. The shift is not delayed. Everything is unfolding as it should, even if it feels slower than you hoped. A 7-second at-home ritual, scientifically proven by neuroscience labs and hidden for decades in CIA files, is now public, and people are seeing money flow into their lives. Scientists say it activates a brain pathway linked to abundance. Click the link in the comments below before this knowledge disappears again. There are things that were broken in you that you forgot how to talk about. You buried them because you didn't know if healing was possible. But God didn't forget. He didn't walk past the pain. He leaned into it. Last night was part of your healing. A piece of your freedom. A step into something deeper than surface faith. He wants your whole heart, not because He needs it, but because He wants you to feel what it's like to live without the fear, the shame, the guilt, the old wounds. He's not asking you to be perfect. He's asking you to be honest. There is something sacred in surrender, in coming to God just as you are and saying, "This is all I have." That is enough. You are enough. Your tired prayers are enough. Your quiet hope is enough. God is not measuring you by how much you accomplish. He is holding you through how much you endure. And what He has for you is not dependent on your performance. It's rooted in His mercy. Type 2323 if you agree. Maybe you're looking around at your life and wondering when things will make sense again. Maybe the questions are louder than the answers, and the days feel like they blend together. God sees that. He's not ignoring the confusion. He's walking with you through it. He's guiding you even when you feel lost. And the reason you haven't collapsed under the weight of it all is because He's been carrying you, sometimes through people, sometimes through peace you didn't expect, and sometimes through the quiet strength that kept you going when nothing else made sense. There is grace for this moment. Not just for the future. Not just for the day things finally get better. But for now. For the messy middle. For the uncertain chapters. For the tears you don't talk about and the weariness you hide behind a smile. You don't have to carry it alone anymore. You never did, really. But now, God is asking you to stop gripping it so tightly. Let Him hold it. Let Him hold you. What happened last night was God making room in your life for what's coming. Some things had to shift in the unseen. Some chains had to break where no eyes could see. Some battles had to be won where no one else could fight them. And He did it for you, not because you're perfect, but because you're His. You've been walking forward, even if it's been slow. You've been trusting, even when it felt shaky. You've been praying, even when the words didn't come out right. And all of that matters. God sees the effort. He hears the heart behind every tear, every word, every sigh. And He answers not based on your eloquence but based on His endless compassion. Sometimes we think healing only happens in bright moments, but often it begins in the dark. In the stillness. In the nights when nothing feels different but everything is being rearranged. That's where God moved last night, in the shadows, bringing light. In the silence, bringing promise. In the tension, bringing peace. You are not standing still. Even if you feel stuck, heaven has already moved ahead of you. The prayers you prayed yesterday are watering the ground you will walk on tomorrow. The doors you've been waiting on are opening, not by force, but by favor. The moments that feel empty are being filled, slowly, with joy again. Peace is coming back. Hope is returning. The fire in your heart is not gone. It's being reignited. And through it all, God has never looked away. Not once. His eyes are on you, not with judgment, but with love. He is proud of how far you've come, even when you feel like you've failed. He is proud of how you've held on, even when everything in you wanted to let go. And now, He's preparing to do what only He can do, restore you fully, bless you openly, and lead you gently into everything He promised. What happened wasn't random. It wasn't small. It was divine. And though you didn't see the shift with your eyes, your spirit will soon begin to feel it. This isn't just about a new day, it's about a new season. Something deeper is opening up for you. A season where you stop surviving and start healing. A season where you begin to understand why you had to walk through so much, why certain things were taken, why certain people walked away, and why God allowed the delays. He was never punishing you. He was preparing you. The breaking didn't mean you were finished. It meant something new had to be born from within you, faith that can't be shaken, peace that isn't built on circumstances, and joy that doesn't disappear when storms come. Type 1111 if you trust in God. You've made it through things that could have broken you completely. You've stood in moments that should have crushed your spirit, but here you are, still breathing, still standing, still hoping even if your hope feels small. That's not weakness. That's strength. That's God holding you in ways no one else could. There were times you almost gave up, but something deeper wouldn't let you. That something wasn't just your will, it was God's presence anchoring you. What heaven witnessed last night was more than a miracle, it was a confirmation. A confirmation that you are not forgotten. That your story is still unfolding. That there is more ahead, and it is better, fuller, and more beautiful than what's behind you. God is not finished with you. He's just getting started. You haven't seen your best days yet. You haven't felt your greatest joy yet. You haven't walked into your most powerful moments yet. You are not here by accident. You are not reading these words by chance. This is part of the whisper God has been speaking into your heart. I see you. I know what you've carried. And I'm coming to restore everything you thought was gone. A classified 7-second morning ritual, once buried in CIA files, is quietly transforming financial lives. In under 30 seconds, it helps shift the mind from scarcity to wealth, with many reporting surprise income and peace. Click the link in the comments below before the page is removed. There's a deep comfort in knowing that you are not required to have all the answers. You don't need to have the perfect plan or the perfect words. You don't need to fix everything right now. What you need is rest. Not just physical rest, but soul rest. The kind that comes when you finally trust that God is fighting battles you can't see and guiding paths you don't yet understand. He doesn't need you to be strong all the time. He needs you to be honest. And in your honesty, He becomes your strength. You might feel like you're walking through shadows right now. The future may seem unclear. But what you must remember is that God works in shadows. He moves in silence. And even when things appear still, heaven is never asleep. Your life is being watched over, guarded by grace, and carried by hands that will never let you go. Type yes to affirm His presence in your life. Sometimes we look at our lives and all we can see is what went wrong. The missed chances. The closed doors. The people we lost. The mistakes we regret. But God doesn't see us through the lens of our failures. He sees us through the lens of redemption. When He looks at you, He sees the heart that keeps showing up, even after the pain. He sees the spirit that's still open, even after disappointment. He sees the one He loves, not for what you've done, but for who you are, His. Healing takes time, and God is not rushing you. He's not disappointed in your slow steps. He's proud of your forward movement. He knows how hard it's been. He knows how heavy the days have felt. And that's why He moved so gently last night, because your heart needed something soft. Something kind. Something sure. And His love is all of that and more. There are blessings that are going to reach you without you chasing them. Doors will open that you didn't knock on. Peace will settle in places that once held chaos. And strength will rise in you that you thought was gone forever. Not because life suddenly becomes easy, but because you'll know who is walking beside you. The difference now isn't just that things will change, but that you'll begin to see and feel that you're not alone anymore. The truth is, you've never been alone. Not for a moment. Even in the seasons when you felt forgotten. Even in the silence that made you wonder if God still heard you. He did. He always has. And last night was a reminder from heaven that you've been carried the entire time. He's walking with you into a future that holds peace for your anxious thoughts, healing for your hidden wounds, clarity for your confusion, and joy for your heavy heart. You don't have to earn it. You just have to receive it. Open your heart and let God in, not just the polished parts you show the world, but the real parts. The raw, tender, tired parts. Those are the parts He loves most. This is your moment to let go of what's been too heavy for too long. Let go of the shame. Let go of the guilt. Let go of the idea that you have to do it all on your own. You don't. You never did. That's why He sent you this message, and why last night happened the way it did. You are being invited back into the arms of a Father who still calls you His child, even on your worst days. What happened last night wasn't just a moment, it was a movement. A realignment in the heavens where God stepped into the places of your life that needed quiet rescue. He didn't wait for you to ask the perfect prayer. He didn't wait for you to figure it out. He moved because He loves you that much. Last night, angels stood around you. Not as a symbol. Not as a dream. But as a divine reality. They were dispatched not because of who you've been, but because of who you are to God, His beloved, His creation, His child. While you slept, they warred for your peace. They covered you. They made way for healing. You may have opened your eyes today and felt like nothing changed, but something did. The shift has already begun. And soon, you'll feel the evidence of it rising in your soul. Type 1212 if you walk by faith. You've come through storms that people don't even know about. There are things you've survived that others wouldn't believe if you told them. The battles in your mind, the heaviness in your chest, the moments when you smiled through silent pain, none of that was missed by God. He didn't turn away. He leaned closer. Because when everyone else saw the surface, He saw your heart. And He loved you not in spite of your struggles, but right in the middle of them. God never needed you to have it all together. He simply needed your heart to remain open. And that's what it's done. It stayed open, even when it was tired, even when it was confused, even when it was wounded. That kind of endurance, that quiet persistence, is sacred. It's the kind of faith that moves mountains, not because it's loud, but because it's real. What happened last night was not just a touch of mercy, it was a wave of restoration. Things are being returned to you. Not always the way you expected, but better. You thought you lost time, opportunities, chances at joy. But nothing is lost in the hands of God. He restores what was taken, and He makes it new. That's what He's doing now. The doors you thought had closed forever? He's opening new ones. The peace you thought you'd never feel again? It's already approaching. The healing you feared would never come? It's already begun. You don't have to feel it to trust it. You don't have to understand it to believe in it. Sometimes, all God needs is a small yes from you, a whisper in your soul that says, I still believe you can. And He takes that whisper and turns it into movement. He takes your faith, no matter how fragile, and breathes life into the parts of your story that still need redemption. Do you know, inside your brain is a small region linked to wealth and success, once buried in restricted research and hidden in CIA files. This newly revealed frequency is helping people replace stress with financial ease, and God has guided you here. Click the link in the description and comments to activate this hidden brain wave now. There's a new calm coming over your life, one that doesn't depend on circumstances being perfect. It comes from knowing you are safe, covered, and surrounded by God's presence. You're not just moving into better days, you're moving into deeper awareness. A deeper connection with the one who never left your side. Type 222 if you believe God is making a way. For too long, you've been measuring your worth through your struggles. You've looked at your pain and questioned your value. But God says your worth is not defined by your battles. It's defined by His love. And that love is not fragile. It doesn't leave. It doesn't fade when you mess up. It doesn't disappear in your weakness. It holds you. It pursues you. It claims you, again and again, no matter what. This is your time to come home, not just spiritually, but emotionally, mentally. Come back to the place where peace is not a feeling but a foundation. Where love is not earned but received. Where grace is not limited, but overflowing. That's the home God is offering. Not a place, but a presence. His presence. You are not too broken. You are not too late. You are not too far gone. You are exactly where you need to be for God to move. And move, He will. The signs will begin to show. Little things at first, unexpected peace, a small answer, a tiny door cracking open. Then more. Then overflow. Then you'll look back and see how last night was the moment that everything quietly began again. This is your promise. God finishes what He starts. He won't leave the healing half done. He won't abandon the process halfway through. He's in it with you, every step, every breath, every moment you feel like giving up. He'll be the hand that steadies you. The voice that calms you. The strength that carries you. Let go of the pressure to perform. Let go of the fear that you're not doing enough. Let go of the need to pretend you're okay when you're not. You are allowed to be real with God. He already knows. And still, He chooses you. It was spoken with a love so deep, so gentle, so unwavering, that all of heaven leaned in to listen. You didn't feel the shift because it happened where your senses couldn't reach, but your spirit knows. Something was rewritten in your favor. There have been things in your life that have drained your soul. People who misunderstood you, seasons that stretched you thin, decisions you had to make without peace, and moments when your heart quietly broke while no one else noticed. Yet through it all, you kept moving. Not because you had the strength, but because God gave you the grace to keep going. That grace didn't run out. It's still here. It surrounded you last night, and it's carrying you forward today. Type 2020 to claim miracles. You may not fully understand what happened, but heaven does. The angels who stood around you saw chains fall off your life, chains of fear, guilt, shame, and hopelessness. They saw old burdens being lifted, not by your efforts, but by God's hand. What felt like a silent night was actually a holy one. Something broke in the spirit, something healed, something changed. And because of that moment, your tomorrow won't look like your yesterday. God is not just fixing broken pieces. He's giving you a new foundation. He's not interested in patching up what life has damaged. He's rebuilding something stronger, deeper, more beautiful than before. The version of you that's emerging from this season will be more whole, more free, and more connected to the truth of who you are in Him. Not what others have said. Not what life has taught. But what heaven has declared since the beginning: you are chosen, you are loved, you are worth every miracle coming your way. What you don't see is how much has already shifted. The doors that once felt locked are now loosening. The prayers that felt forgotten are now rising. The weight that seemed endless is now beginning to lift. Slowly, maybe, but surely. God is not in a hurry, but He is always on time. What was set in motion last night is unfolding in perfect alignment, and nothing can stop it. There's no more need to fight for what's already been written into your story. You don't have to beg God to remember you. He never forgot. You don't have to earn His favor. It's already resting on you. You don't have to chase peace, it's already on its way. All you need to do now is receive. Open your heart again, even if it still feels fragile. Let His presence fill the spaces that once held pain. He's not afraid of the mess. He's not waiting for you to be strong. He's just waiting for you to let Him in. Type 555 if you are ready for what God has planned. There will always be moments that test your faith. Life will shake you. People will hurt you. But none of that is more powerful than the one who holds your life. What happened last night was a reminder that no darkness, no disappointment, no delay can cancel what God has promised you. His word is not changed by your circumstances. His plan is not erased by your mistakes. He is the same today as He was last night, faithful, loving, near. This is the beginning of restoration. Not just on the outside, but deep in your soul. The kind of healing that doesn't just make you feel better but makes you whole. The kind of peace that doesn't just calm your thoughts but fills every part of your being. The kind of love that doesn't just meet you in your good moments, but finds you right in the middle of your confusion and says, "You are still mine." You don't need to have the right words. You don't need to pretend to be okay. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to stay close. Stay open. Stay honest. The God who reached into your life last night didn't come for the perfect version of you. He came for the real you, the one who's trying, the one who's tired, the one who's hoping for just one sign that it's all going to be okay. And here it is going to be okay. No, It's going to be better than okay. It's going to be beautiful. Financial freedom is not about effort, but activating a hidden brain signal once buried in CIA files. Neuroscience shows this sound wave helps attract money and opportunity faster, and thousands are already seeing unexpected income. Click the link in the description and comments now to activate the ancient money wave today. Because when God moves, He doesn't restore things to how they were. He makes them new. He rewrites the story. He brings beauty from ashes. He takes what tried to destroy you and turns it into the very thing that strengthens you. What was meant to break you is going to build you. The peace you've been looking for is not in a place, a person, or a plan. It's in God. And it's already within reach. He's not far. He's not waiting for you to be stronger. He's with you now, whispering truth, covering you in grace, reminding you that this season is not the end of your story, it's the place where everything begins to change. Let go of the fear that nothing will improve. Let go of the belief that you missed your chance. Let go of the lie that you're too late or too broken. None of that is true. You are right on time for what God has prepared. And the miracles coming are not random, they are specific to your heart, your prayers, your journey. They were written with your name on them. So step into today not with fear, but with quiet confidence. You don't need to know all the answers. You only need to know who holds your future. And He is good. He is kind. He is for you. Sometimes it answers through silence, through stillness, through deep peace that begins to settle in slowly. That's what is happening now. A peace that isn't just visiting, it's coming to stay. You may feel like you're still carrying the same questions, the same worries, the same weight. But God has already gone ahead of you. He's making a way, not in some distant future, but right now. Paths are being prepared. Solutions are aligning. Healing is reaching places within you that even you forgot existed. What happened last night was not emotional, it was eternal. God was writing restoration into your story. Type Amen if you believe that God is working in your life. You are not forgotten. You are not invisible. You are not just passing through this life unnoticed. The angels stood in awe because something eternal was spoken over you. God moved with purpose. He didn't hesitate. He didn't question your worth. He simply acted in love. He didn't ask for anything in return, just your heart, your trust, your willingness to believe that He still writes beauty into broken places. There's something about the way God loves that changes everything. It's not loud or demanding. It doesn't rush in with pressure or noise. It waits. It stays. It stands beside you even when you're too tired to pray. That's what came near you last night. That's what is resting over you now. A love that never leaves, never grows tired, never turns away, even when you do. The pain you've been carrying is not too heavy for Him. He's not intimidated by your past, your questions, or your struggle to keep believing. He knows you. Not the version you present to the world, but the real you. The one who's been fighting through quiet battles. The one who tries to stay strong for everyone else. The one who lays awake wondering when something will finally change. That's the one he moved for last night. Type 666 if you trust Jesus to carry your pain. The truth is, God has never stopped watching over you. He saw you in the beginning. He's seen every step since. And no matter what's happened along the way, no matter how far you've wandered or how much you've questioned, He never changed His mind about you. His plan hasn't wavered. His love hasn't weakened. His hands haven't let go. You're stepping into a new beginning now. It might not look the way you expected. It might not feel like a big moment. But it's sacred. It's quiet. It's real. What you feel rising inside, whether it's a small glimmer of hope or a steady peace, that's Him. That's the result of the spiritual shift that happened in the night. You don't have to force anything. Just rest in what God has already done. It's okay to not have all the answers. It's okay if your faith is still shaky. God doesn't love you more when you're strong and less when you're weak. His love is steady in every season. He's not waiting for you to be perfect. He's walking with you through the process. Every step, every stumble, every prayer that doesn't have words, He's in all of it. There are blessings making their way to you that have nothing to do with how hard you've worked or how well you've performed. They have everything to do with how deeply God loves you. He knows what you need before you ask. He knows where it hurts even when you pretend you're fine. He's not judging your pace. He's just asking you to keep walking with Him, no matter how slowly.